So never did I ever say that I felt like I was the only real Black woman or the only Black woman on the show at all.
Mickey is back. The Mictator is back, and she has some splaining to do. Hit the like and subscribe button as the intro plays. Okay, so Mickey is back explaining that she never ever once said that she was the only Black woman, real Black woman in the house.
You did.
That is true. She didn't say she was the only real Black woman, but she did say she was the only real traditional Black woman in the house. You know, the stereotypes, the stigmas and the stereotypes.
Traditional Black woman in the house in a conversation. Could you tell us what you meant by that?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Traditional Black woman, meaning I come from all of the different traditional, I guess, stigmas or stereotypes.
So that in her mind meant real, the real. But no, she's back saying, give her some grace. Give her some grace. She had just gotten out of the house and she was confused and she was hit with this interview.
That's bullshit, Gary, you know it.
But the whole entire interview, she was doing quite well until Taylor asked her that question.
So obviously I come from a non-two-parent home. Obviously I don't have parents. I went to college. I am 100% African-American.
What do you mean by you are the only traditional Black woman in the house?
I come from areas to where I do experience a lot of racism and things that are inequality. I've never really had a leg up in certain opportunities. I think I am the only one in the house that experienced that.
And she doubled down. She explained that perfectly clear. I mean, it was wrong as F, but she was clear. So now she's, being a revisionist historian, like a lot of them are having come out of the house, explaining what she meant. She meant she misused the words. She meant stereotypical Black woman.
Now, what I did say was I felt like I was the only traditional Black woman in the house. And in hindsight, I definitely used the wrong word choice. And what I truly meant was stereotypical Black woman.
Like, Mickey, why would you refer to yourself as a stereotypical Black woman?
Are you fucking dumb?
In fact, it seems as though in this particular case, she's misusing words. Like, why would you even refer to yourself as a stereotypical Black woman? I never got stereotypical Black woman from Mickey. What I did get from Mickey, I guess if you wanted to say stereotypical, was the attitudinal Black woman.
I don't care. I care, but it's like, I don't care about her feelings anymore. Like, I try to be so nice.
She was playing that role like this boss bee, but a lot of people do that. But I did get that from her. But initially, I didn't get that from Mickey. I thought she was well-spoken. She was well put together. She wasn't, twerking all over the house like they stereotype us to do. She was just a regular girl, in my opinion. But until she became the Mictator, until she flipped on us, did a 180 and became this mean, obsessed with power girl.
Building, I usher in Nay.
Woman. Let me stop calling her a girl. But Mickey was really standing in that interview with Taylor. She was clear to me because the way she said Ashley grew up wearing Aritzia. She grew up with the finer things. She didn't have those things. Yeah, traditional.
I do believe Ashley is African-American as well, but obviously we come from two different backgrounds. Two educated family members is what she has. She speaks highly of the fact that, she's always had the finest things in life, always the most expensive things. And she's been wearing Aritzia all her life and, the really expensive things. That's not something that I've always been able to have. So when I say traditional Black girl, I mean basically the traditional Black girl, the ones that people always stereotype. That is definitely, unfortunately, me.
That's not traditional. But, we belabored this over and over again. I just want you to see this clip, just in case you're not on the Tik Tok like I am, that Mickey was pleading her case once again, and she's asking for grace.
I felt like I was being asked a lot of questions about my hair being real or people insisting that my hair was not real because it was so long. I was also being termed as the weaveologist, asked a lot of questions about weaves, and I've never worn a weave in my life. I was asked if I knew who my father was because I said that I was raised in a single parent household.
What? Name them. Well, what you did was ridiculous. Name them.
I was asked about food stamps. I'd been asked about validating cultural references. I was asked about rap songs and confirming rappers' names and things of that sort. I was also asked, did I know how to twerk? Asking, do I know how to twerk on a handstand?
At a club. You gonna tear up. Club.
So on and so forth. That's just a few things. And I was basically just talking about my experience. That's simply it.
But Mickey, you never said that. Like, you never said anything about your experience in the house. You were directing that towards Ashley. It was clear that you were directing that towards Ashley. It wasn't about how they treated you in the house, because that could have been a whole other discussion with Taylor. That actually could have been your end to social media greatness, to out these people who you said were stereotyping you, but you were out hanging out with them, doing TikToks with them. But now these people were asking you all these absurd questions.
The math is not mathing.
And now you're backpedaling, saying that that's what you really meant. I'm not buying it, but I'll give you some grace.
Now, I did use the wrong word choice. I definitely should have said stereotypical. When I did my interview for that question, I literally had 2 hours of sleep. I had just been evicted. And honestly, y'all, I had no time to even mentally process or prepare for the question to even be asked.
Mickey, why did you need to prepare for an answer to a question, a simple question? Either you think you're the only traditional Black person in the house, or you're not the only traditional Black person in the house. Why did you need to prep? This should be coming from the dome and from the heart. But I mean, it's true. You know, they get a sort of media training or exit interviews with the production to tell them what they're going to face. So they didn't tell her that because they probably weren't expecting that, because that's not something that's near and dear to production's heart, whether or not she thought she was the only traditional Black person in the house. It was something that struck Taylor. It struck a nerve in Taylor. But for real, why did you need to prep for it? I don't understand. It either is or it isn't.
Because I didn't even know the question was even a topic of discussion or an issue out in the real world at all.
Aha! Aha!
And I didn't have time to even really properly process or just even put together and properly express my thoughts in that moment.
I call bullshit on this, Mickey. Why? Because I don't think Taylor was your first stop out of the house. I don't think she was your first press interview. So no, you did not have time to answer the whole traditional Black woman question, but you have had time to answer all the questions that these people have been asking, because they were all asking the same questions. All the media people were asking the same questions.
But under no circumstances was I ever trying to invalidate or devalue anyone else's Blackness. I was simply really just trying to focus on my experience and how I felt I was treated in that house.
You need to be honest and true with yourself. You were, in fact, trying to gatekeep what's Black. You didn't think Ashley was Black enough because she grew up in a 2-parent household, lived in the suburbs, and as her father said, had a 3-car garage. So that's not Black to you. That's something you've never seen, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because it does. I know many. I'm not one with a 3-car garage, but I know many Black people with them. All right, so Mickey, cut the BS.
Not to say that I was treated badly at all, but I did feel as though that it was a lot of pressure on me to, I guess, not only perform, but live up to these stereotypes that people kind of had me boxed in as. With me being the only one that kind of had to answer the questions and represent for whatever that looked like. So that's really it. If anybody else has any additional questions about it, feel free to DM me. Like, I have no problems with that. But I did not say that I was the only Black woman. I did not say that I was the only real Black woman. And that is not what I meant whatsoever at all.
You sure about that?
I was speaking about my experience and how I felt like I was being treated through a stereotypical lens in the house. I felt like I was on an island by myself based on those things. And yeah, I didn't feel like anybody supported me in that, or even, like, I don't know, put a foot down, or like, oh, hey, like maybe we shouldn't say those things or anything of that nature. I just didn't feel like that was present for me. And that is my experience. And my feelings are still the same. I still feel the same way, that I felt like I was treated as the only stereotypical Black woman in the house and was kind of boxed in based on just all these different things, and not even things that I spoke of or I feel like even did.
I really don't understand, nor do I buy this whole I was the only one treated this way stereotypically, because in fact, Ashley was kind of treated that way when Adrian thought Ashley was going to become angry if they questioned her about something. But Mickey, you let them make you feel this way, these dumbasses in the house? The Catherines, the Rileys, the Laurens, the Vinnies, who else? The Adrians, the Zachs. You let them make you feel that way? These people who are clearly imbecilic, like they would not hold any weight. So part of me feels like that was something internal that you were feeling about yourself. Like you felt like you had to be on guard. You had to measure up a certain way.
And that was my experience. So I hope that clarifies it a little bit. Please give me a little grace when it comes to using the improper word. But the word that I truly meant to use was stereotypical. And I apologize for using the incorrect word, because I would never want to try to slate another person's Blackness at all. Like, I am definitely down for my people, period. Seriously.
I'm rooting for everybody Black.
But I think she really thinks she is, because of the way she grew up and the way Ashley grew up. And that Morgan, who is biracial, she couldn't possibly be a traditional Black woman because she's biracial. So I think Mickey is just doing some housekeeping and some cleaning up a mess, because she wants her social following to grow, and she doesn't like that she's being perceived as a mean biatch. And I think that's all it is. I don't like that I'm being perceived as a mean biatch.
You better watch those B words, baby. You better watch those.
But that's all she gives. Her energy, her words might not say biatch, but her energy does. And it just comes off as, I'm not really nice. You can say, I'm a nice person. But are you really though? She didn't like people combating her. She didn't like people questioning her. So now she's playing cleanup, because she's seeing some things in life are suffering. Some things people are probably pulling away from her, businesses where she thought she would probably get some sponsored deals, like say Minute Maid. They don't want her. They don't want to touch her, because not only because of that statement about Ashley, because I doubt businesses care about that. They don't like the energy. They don't like what she's giving. I mean, she looks good on camera. She presents well, but that attitude shows a lot clearer than the way her physical appearance is. But I mean, I commend her for coming clean, or at least trying to.